to see how his testimony has been a lighthouse for so many people. The words have found common ground in all of our heart. Because before we come to Christ, there's nothing good righteously about us. Oh, we may do good things and do good things for our community and, but outside of Christ, there's no righteousness. And that was a lesson that John Newton, who wrote this song, he penned the poem in 1772. Now think about how long ago that was. Our Declaration of Independence as Americans was not till 1776. But God was moving. Let me tell you something, folks. God moves through every age. Oh, the plan of salvation is moving. Don't you be disheartened. But let me tell you a little bit about John. John Newton's mother was a wonderful Christian. His father was a captain of a ship. And when John's mother died when he was young, about 11 or 12, his dad took him on the boat with him. 1700s. No issues with child labor back then. But in that, sadly, Britain, as well as the New World, had brought in slavery from Africa. And for many years, John, so hurt by the death of his mother, he just hardened his heart to everything good, and he got into the slave trade. He became blind to the harsh conditions that people were being treated. He was blind to the fact that it was tearing up families. He was blind to the fact that it was hurting homes and destroying a precious people. He was just interested in the commerce. But one day he was on the storm on that sea, and a storm came that he couldn't navigate through. And remembering his mother's prayers, he just called out to God, "If you will save me, I will give you my life." He made it through the storm, and then he realized that in a moment of desperation, as hard as he was, as blind as he had become to what was right, there was God's light shining on him in the middle of the slave trade. You say some people are too lost? No. You keep praying. Mom and dad and grandmas and grandpas and friends, we keep praying. You never know how God will answer prayer. John did give his life to the Lord, but he didn't make an immediate change. But through time, he began to see that the slave trade had to stop and be stopped. And he was highly influential in the life of a member of parliament named William Wilberforce, who for over 40 years fought and argued in parliament against the slave trade. And it was finally passed. And then America followed soon in the 1800s. But John's story is one, he just didn't know if God's grace could reach him. Matter of fact, let me just read you something. This is from his own words. And this came from, remember the first song we did in this program? He who began a good work in you is able to complete it. Let me tell you what John said after he came to the Lord. He said, Newton prayed to God and made it through the storm, and the vessel drifted to safety. He took this as a sign from the Almighty and marked it as his conversion to Christianity, but he did not radically change his ways at once. His total reformation was more gradual. He said, I cannot consider myself to have been a believer in the full sense of the word until considerable time later, he wrote. But he did begin reading his Bible at this point and began to view his captains in a more sympathetic view. You see, when you come to the Lord, all of a sudden things that were blind, we begin to see. Because we also know how gracious God has been to us, and we should in turn be gracious to others. And John Newton penned these words, sung 10 million times. God, if you can save John, you can save anybody. Keep praying and interceding for your family. Because we all need this. Sing with me. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. far, and grace will lead me home. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun. Yes, we've known less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Do you need God today? Just ask for this. Say, Lord, give me your amazing grace. How sweet the sound that saves someone, a wretch like me.